How you doing, Facebook Live? Martin Lopez, and I have been doing the GSD, which stands for Get Shit Done Challenge, the 31-day challenge with Linda West and a bunch of friends. And I've been doing it on my fan page for The Curiosity Theory. That's my book, The Curiosity Theory. I decided to do tonight's broadcast, tonight's Facebook Live, on my personal page. So if you want to see my other, today's day 15, so if you want to see my other, which would be awesome if you look at them, my other 15 posts, please go to my my fan page and I'll put the link on this post. But so what I've been doing the first 14 days of this month is I've been going through the Curiosity Theory, and my goal is to get through the Curiosity Theory this month. Problem is I'm only on page I'm only on the first chapter, so hey Fuji, how you doing, honey? So I've only gotten through the first chapter. So what I'm going to do today is start with chapter 2, and then and we'll go from there. So today's post is called "The First Time I Used Curiosity on Purpose." So I'm going to read a quick paragraph, couple paragraphs. Thanks for the love, I appreciate it. And then I'm going to tell you the story that goes along with this. So the Curiosity Theory is a book called "The Curiosity Theory: A Path from Conflict to Resolution." So it's my journey with conflict and how in my business, in my personal life, my family life, my friends, in my whole life, how I've gone through conflict and how I learned to deal with conflict and learned to navigate through conflict. And I've got an idea, and through that whole process of learning, I came up with a theory called the Curiosity Theory. And the idea behind that is to be curious versus acting like you know everything. So be curious about what's going on with other people versus telling people what they're feeling and what they're going through. So that's the philosophy, and this is chapter 2. So what does it look like when you intentionally use the Curiosity Theory? Recall a time when you were absolutely in the moment. No matter how difficult the work you were doing, you were focused, moving through the tasks required. You were completely in sync with the work itself, as well as anyone else involved in the work with you. Everything else just faded away. Have you ever had that time? You know, you're in flow. You're absolutely in flow. For some, this would be dancing, cooking, or gardening. For others, it could be sports. And for a lot of people that I know, which are in sales, it's closing a sale, going through the sales process. For me, it's playing the saxophone in a jazz band. So if you guys know me, a lot of you guys might know me that I've played saxophone since I was 12 years old, 11, 12 years old, and always loved jazz, and played in jazz band in junior high school as a band geek, played in high school, played a little bit in college, and just love playing jazz. I've had a bunch of bands, and there's no sound with you with no sound. Hi Martina, I'm looking at you with no sound. Thank you, I look good. Can you hear me? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I appreciate that. Is there any sound? I'm looking at you with no sound. You look good, but no sound. Okay, let's hope this works. If I have sound, please let me know if there's any sound. Just give me like a heart if you could. If you can hear me, please give me a little love tap, one of those little hearts. Just want to make sure that there's some sound, because Linda said there's no sound. Okay, cool. Thank you, Fuji. So I had a band about 10 years ago, and we were together for a long time. And about 5 or 6 years ago, when I was starting to put the Curiosity Theory together, we were practicing in my garage, right here. And we were working on a really cool tune. We were going to play. Had a gig that we were going to play this weekend, and at that weekend. And so we were practicing, and we were just jamming out. It was awesome. Like everybody was changing parts. You know, everybody was doing solos: guitar player, piano player, drummer, you know, bass player, myself playing sax, and we were just trading parts. Everybody was jamming. And then all of a sudden, as we were playing through this one song, the drummer decides to change like the groove, and it just threw everybody off. And the keyboard player thought, what the heck's going on? And said to, Patrick was our drummer. He's like, Patrick, don't you know what you're doing? And I don't know if you've ever been in a band. I mean, band members, musicians, we're very touchy kind of people. We get our feelings hurt for everything. And he stopped playing and just kind of looked, kind of grumpy like that, And was like, whoa, what's going on here? And I've been looking for an opportunity to apply the curiosity theory. And that was one of those moments where I thought this band's going to break up, because there's been a little bit of tension. Everything was good, I thought. We had this gig. There's a lot of stress about this gig. And this was just something that, like, I don't think it had to happen. And it was kind of a standoff between the keyboard player and the drummer. And everybody was just kind of watching. And so I look over to Patrick and I said, Patrick, I'm curious. Were you trying to do something here? And he looked really upset. And all of a sudden he just kind of like relaxed a little bit and looked at me and kind of smiled. I said, well, yeah, Martine, I was. Last week I saw this band and they played this really cool groove. And I thought that if we would try that maybe sometime in the night when people are, they're listening to jazz and people mostly don't dance with jazz, maybe they'd get up and they would start dancing. I said, well, that's a great idea. Let's give it a shot. So we explained to everybody how we wanted to play, and then when we got to that one spot, he said, he did exactly what he said he would do, and then all of a sudden we just started jamming on this new groove, and that night we literally found a new groove for our band, and that wouldn't have happened. That absolutely wouldn't have happened, because what was about to happen was a full-on fight where we probably the band probably would have broke up, and because that's happened before. It's happened to me before. You just feel it, like that's where it's going, and so everything shifted. Everything shifted. As a matter of fact, we went and played that Friday, and it was so cool, because when we shifted our groove that Friday, people literally started getting up and dancing. And we're playing jazz. I mean, we're not playing dance music. We're playing jazz. So people are getting up and they're dancing. And it was so successful, this new style, that the club wanted us to keep playing. So we ended up playing the whole summer in that club, and we're very successful in that club. And the point that I want to make, which is the whole idea of the curiosity theory, is that when you're dealing with conflict, when you're dealing with a situation, when you're dealing with a situation, try using curiosity versus using judgment or using anger or, hi cuz, it's Lupe, how you doing, honey? So versus using anger or snapping at somebody. Now for me, I'm hot-headed. I'm Latino, man. I'm hot-headed, and I find myself snapping. But what I do is as often as I can, I try thinking about the curiosity theory. I try thinking about using curiosity in times where I would normally snap, or I would get myself in trouble. I love you too, babe. What I do is I apply curiosity, and the way that you apply curiosity is first is about self-awareness. So first look at yourself and be curious where you're at. Where am I coming from? What's going on with me? And what's happening with me? What emotions am I experiencing? And what are those needs? So in that moment with the band, what I was experiencing was anxiety in that moment. I was seeing Patrick and Adam, they were going at it. And what I chose to do is to be curious about what was going on with myself, which was anxiety, because I did not want the band to break up. And then what I did is I applied curiosity to Patrick, and not thinking I knew what was going on with him, but just wanting to be interested in what's going on. Really curious, what's going on with you, Patrick? What is the thing that you're trying to accomplish here? And as a result, what happens with people is they feel respected. They feel safe. When we're judgmental, when we're telling people what they're thinking and what they're feeling, that's not a very safe space. But when we're open and we're curious and investigating what's going on with people, that creates a very, very safe space for people, because it gives people the respect and dignity of their own situation and what they're going through. Now I know that just being married, hey Dan, how you doing, buddy? Just being I've been married for 18 years. My cousin right there, I think she's been married for 30 years, right? Lupe, how long you been married, honey? Thanks for the love, Dan. Being married 18 years, there's situations that we have that I'll say something or it'll be said to me, and I think I know what my wife is thinking. Like 31 years. God bless you. That's awesome. Whoa, 31 years. You can teach me a lot about curiosity in marriage. So let me get back to the story. So there's a lot of times where I think, because I've been married for 18 years, I think I know what my wife is thinking. And even if I'm right about it, or she's right about how she thinks I'm thinking, it doesn't really work out very well when you say that. Like, I know what you're thinking and this is what you're doing. That never seems to be a very good strategy. So what I've learned is to be curious and investigate, to look and see if in fact what you think is happening is in fact happening, but at the same time being open that is actually that could actually not be what's going on. And what is the viewpoint of the person? What is I froze. It's probably my internet. It's raining like crazy outside, and maybe there's a problem with the internet. So just being open. So really being open to what's going on with the other person versus just think that you know what's going on with them. I think that's a very, very important part of curiosity. I think it's a very, very important part of marriage or just any type of relationship. I know in sales, I'm a loan officer, so in sales, I'm constantly dealing with, husbands and wives, wives and wives, husbands and husbands, boyfriends and girlfriends, and all kinds of different couples in different situations. And it doesn't matter if you're a straight couple, you're a gay couple, if you're a family member, there's tension everywhere. It's just everywhere. And I find that you have a couple, you have two different points of views. And most salespeople, what they do is they'll go to the couple that's most like them, and therefore a lot of time leaving out the other person in the relationship. So let's say, for instance, the husband is most like me, and if I focus on the husband, then I'm leaving the wife out, or if I focus on the wife, I'm leaving the husband out. Then what happens is then when they leave, they're having a conversation, and the person that's being left out is obviously not feeling too good about the situation. It's like, that Martin guy, he's a jerk, right? He doesn't even pay attention. So I find that in sales, it's the curiosity theory works really well, because what I do is I apply curiosity to both the husband and the wife. And the real benefit is the one you don't connect with. When you apply curiosity to that person, you really deepen that connection. You grow yourself as a person because you're starting to learn the way other people are. Hey, David, how you doing, brother? And you start to learn the way other people are that you normally maybe don't get along with. So you find out really, really cool things. Let's say there's a couple that actually I don't want to talk about my clients, but let's say there's a couple and then the husband is like, he's all into sports. I love the Chargers, and I don't know why you love the Chargers right now. They're pissing me off, but curious why they're pissing me off, right? But let's say we're into sports. We're just like when we talk about sports, and the wife is absolutely not interested. It's important to find out what the wife is interested in and be curious. So, for instance, I can connect with the husband or with the wife, whoever's in sports, but then look to the other person and include them in the conversation. How do you include them in a conversation? Well, you be curious. You ask them questions. You want to know what they're thinking. What do you think about this, John? What do you think about this, Emma? What do you think about this, Daisy? And be curious about what they're saying. And when people are given the opportunity to speak, trust me, they take that opportunity. Very, very few people, when they feel safe and respected, are going to turn away the opportunity to speak and to communicate. So the curiosity theory is a very, very powerful tool to get people to speak if you're really being curious. The trick is that oftentimes, even for myself, is that I'll be speaking to somebody and I'm curious, and then I think I know what I'm talking about, and then I move away from that curiosity. And then what happens is that I then start becoming preachy or like a know-it-all, and then that takes that relationship goes right down the hill. Not all the time, but sometimes. So anyways, that's a little bit on chapter 2 of the curiosity theory. I've been doing the 31-day GSD, which stands for Get Shit Done Challenge. I've been doing that on my fan page, which is Stay Curious. I think it's called Stay Curious, My Friend, or it's Martin Lopez, author of the Curiosity Theory. So I'd love for you to like that page and then and come by and check that out every day. I've been doing these posts, these Facebook Lives. It's a really, really great way to share the philosophy that I have with the Curiosity Theory. So thanks for hanging out, listening, David, Alan. How you doing, brother? For listening, and I really, really appreciate it. I love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.